Okay guys, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So this is going to be a huge tutorial today. If you've got a good couple of hours, I would suggest doing this. If you don't have a good couple of hours, maybe save this video till later. But to be honest with you, I guess like you could just kind of watch what I'm doing if you're not going to be building this today and just see what I get up to really. So I think what we're going to start with, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the default cube. I'm going to get rid of this light, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the camera as well. We don't need those right now. I'm just going to go ahead and put the screencasting keys on. So, in June, July, I'm kind of doing themes of kind of Athens, Rome, kind of Greece kind of thing. You know, Athens, capital of Greece anyway, but you know, Greek, Roman kind of things, because it's summer and I just kind of want to put that stuff out there and it just looks nice. So I've started making a few videos of that, but today, this particular one, it's almost kind of Greek Roman, but then it also kind of has a Middle Eastern vibe to it as well. So, yeah, let's start off. I'm going to go ahead and make I think we should start with the chandelier to begin with. And then we'll work on everything else. So this might be a couple of hours worth of tutorial, but hopefully it's worth it for you in the end. So this particular chandelier, we've made chandeliers in the past. We're just going to go with a circle. Let's just pull this out. So don't worry about the size of everything at the minute, because we can just like size it all back down. So what we're going to do, we've got our circle right here. We're going to go ahead and add, let's go with I think we're going to be going with circles maybe, or, I think I did it with the cylinder last time. I'm going to do it with the cylinder this time. So this is going to be one of our jewels that's on the side. I'm just going to go ahead and just squish it down just slightly, so that we've kind of got this oblong, almost shape going on. We'll go to Shade Smooth. And then what I'm going to do, go to edit mode, and we will take this, and we're just going to go E-fret extrude, and then rotates this part just in slightly so that it's got this nice little kind of point bevel thing going on. You can just bring that down just slightly and rotate it again. You want to just scale it outwards just slightly, so we've got that nice little point going on. And then we'll do the exact same to the top as well. So we'll go E-fret extrude, and then we'll rotate this one. Just bring this roughly around to the top. Just again, scale it out to where it needs to be. So you've got almost an object just like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we just need something for the glass. So we're going to go, sorry, ignore D. So it selects this, scale it down. Press G, bring it over. Let's go 7 to heaven. And we're just going to place it here. Now, before we do any editing and duplicating this around the ring, we need to put a material to it. So we'll come over to your materials tab. We're going to go with glass. You can go with Principled BSDF for this again, or you can go with Glass BSDF. So just turn down your roughness. Remember, if you put this material to any other object, it's going to be the exact same material as the original. So just bear that in mind. You can also change the colour to this if you want to. That's totally up to you. I'm just going to take this ring right here. I'm going to go edit mode, and I'm just going to go F for fill, E for extrude, and just bring it up just ever so slightly so that it's got this little ring around it. Just press G to bring it up if you've not already. And then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this face and this face. We'll just go delete. So we've got this delete faces right here. Press A to select everything. And then E for extrude, leave it where it is, and then scale inwards. So we've got this nice little ring going on. So now what we want to do is take this ring, shade this smooth, and we're going to go with gold for this one. So we've kind of got this other material that's kind of come into play right here. I'm just going to go ahead and change this to gold, so that we've not got any rogue materials. You want to just go for a nice orange, turn up your metallic, turn down your roughness slightly. So once we go on to the render engine right here. We'll change from EB to cycles because I work in cycles. Excuse me. And we'll notice obviously we've not got any lights in here right now, but we've now got this kind of glass theme that's going on. And we've got the little gold ring that's going around. So, what we want to do is let's go 7 to heaven. We're going to take this glass right here that we have. I'm just going to go ahead and call this the glass 1. Oh, you can just call it glass. Usually it'll number it afterwards. Let's go ahead and we want to go Shift D, bring it across to this side. Now this is going to be facing the wrong way. As you can see, the points are up on this side. So what you want to do, go rotate, and you want to go 180. Press 7 to heaven again, and now you've got these two on each side. As long as you stay within this little crosshatch right here, each one should be fine for this. So we're going to go ahead and select both of them. Shift D, leave it where it is, rotate, and you want to go 45. Oops, where's that? Oh, sorry, you want to go 90. Let's go 90. Sorry, and then it's 45. So let's select these ones. We're going to go Shift D, leave it where it is, alpha rotate, 45. And then we'll take these ones in. And then we'll go Shift D, and it's for, if we just keep it where it is. Oops. Try and line that up as best as I can. Rotate, and then I think it's 22.5 that should be there. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my calculator just to make sure that calculation was correct. So, we had 45, we divided by that 2. Yeah, 22.5, then we're going to divide again by 2, which is 11.25. So we need to select all of these points just around the edge right here. Then we want to go for Shift D, leave where it is, rotate, and we are going 11.25. And that should be the basis of one of the tiers of the chandelier that I've got on here. So, we're not going to have light to it, but if I do this, we can now see we've got this kind of glass thing going on. So we will add the lights into this. So the light is actually a central light that comes down. And the great thing for us right now is the chandelier isn't multiple tiers where everything has to be the same size. The chandelier is actually multiple tiers where the tiers are actually different sizes. So we can actually take this design right here and we can just make a little chandelier right out of it. So if we press 1, which is a side view, take this and we just Shift D it, bring it down, make sure there's a little bit of a lip, scale it in, because the jewels on my plan actually get smaller as they get to the bottom. So again, Shift D, and then you can just scale this in as much as you want to, whatever seems correct for you. And what it is, we get smaller and smaller and smaller to the end. What I want to do is Shift D again, smaller, Shift D again, smaller. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just scale this one up. So we've got this nice long tier at the bottom. And then we're going to go Shift D, bring it down, scale it inwards, and then just bring this just a little bit shorter, and then we're going to make it up to a point. So this is going to be kind of one of those weird fancy chandeliers. Shift D, bring that in. And then, once we get right to the point right here, go Shift D, bring it in. Actually, you know what, I'm going to take this one. Just elongate it. Press G. Obviously, now this is your chandelier. You can do whatever you want with it. And then I'm just going to go ahead, put another one of these here, and then even thinner. So it's almost like one of those really posh chandeliers where it's kind of very artistically made. So, once we get to the top again here, I'm just going to go ahead and select this ring up on the inside right here and just go to the side view for you guys. So these are actually this is going to be a double tier right here. So we're going to put these ones right here, and I'm just going to slightly pull it out, just slightly, and then we're going to go back in again. So Shift D, scale it in, and then Shift D again, and then you would just want to scale it in, Shift D, scale it in, and just slowly start going up the tier, really, of what you would like. Oops, Shift D, let's go up there, just into the centre, and then we've got this nice little kind of weird looking chandelier, but trust the process, because this is going to be hanging in the main lobby that we're going to make in a moment. So we want to go ahead and just add a cylinder just at the bottom here, bring this up, just press G, bring it down, scale it so that it just clips the edge of your jaws right there, just in there. Shade this smooth, go to your edit mode, take this face right here, just go G, bring it down, then we're going to go E for extrude, scale outwards, and then E for extrude, and then E for extrude again, and we're just going to make this into a nice little point just at the top, so we've got it, kind of got this fancy light feature hanging on. And then once we've got to that, we're going to go E for extrude and just bring it straight up. So now this is where the light will hang from. And even you could put a square on here, and then you could put a square on the other side of the building, because what most chandeliers have that I've seen, at least in places that I've been where they've got chandeliers, they actually have, I don't know what you call it, maybe like a stress line. So what it is, if the main chandelier bracket breaks off the ceiling, they actually have a secondary chain, and it allows the chandelier to swing away from people rather than fall straight down. So it's kind of like a safety feature kind of thing going on. So with this particular material, I'm just going to go with black plastic, because that's what essentially it is. It's just black plastic on the outside here. So you can add a chain onto here if you'd like to. You can switch this out. To add chains, all you need to do is just go to add, and then we've got you've got meshes, you've got torus, and then you just interlink them. To be honest with you, I think that's a really good design. I think I might actually incorporate that. So if I just go to edit mode, if you guys want to do this, you can do. If you don't want to do this, you've got the original anyway. Just press G, bring it down. I would advise people who've got powerful computers to do the chains, and if your computer isn't so powerful, just leave it the way that it is, because I don't want you to overrun your computers. So we go to add, and then torus, press G, bring it up. I know what it's like to have a laptop or a computer that doesn't quite run things correctly, and it's quite slow. So, you know, if it does get to the point where your computer's slowing down because there's too many objects within it, I would highly recommend that you just keep it straight, rather than adding this additional detail. So you'll notice that this is right in the middle right here. So because we're still on the crosshatch, so that shouldn't move. Right, so this ring right here, we can have the first ring as black, so we could take that black plastic if you wanted to. Have that as black, so that's that connecting. The second one that we can have, bring it up. You want to rotate this by 45, I believe it is. No, 90. Sorry, 90. Where's my head today? Right, so we'll take this one particular ring. We're going to go to edit mode. Make sure that everything's selected. If it's not selected, press A to select everything. We're going to go plus. And then, you know, we could either do the gold that we originally had, or we could do another assign. We could do new, and we could do kind of like old gold. So it's kind of like a faded gold. Could you imagine if this has been hung up for quite some time, maybe no one's cleaned it? So you can call this one the old gold, and then maybe it's a bit more duller. So you can pull up your metallic right here, bring that in, maybe pull the roughness up a little bit, maybe it's dusty. And now what we can do is we can go Shift D, bring this up so that the link's just there. We're going to go alpha rotate at the 90-degree angle, and then we'll take these two and we'll go Shift D, bring it up to the point, take these two. Let's go with, where am I going here? Yeah, so take these four, bring this up, and you can just go all the way up the chain right here, just on multiple. Bring this up. Now we have these nice little chains that are going on, holding up the chandelier. You can make these smaller actually, they look a little bit too big, but 1 second. I can do that. If we select them all and then we just shrink them down a little bit, we can make those a little bit different. Just box selects them all, I guess. So it is a little bit too big for the chandelier. So I'm just going to go ahead, scale these down to a point where it looks relatively good on the chandelier. If we press 1, then we can see how big the chain is in comparison to the chandelier. So scale it down just a little bit. Maybe you want big chains for this because, you know, it's a big chandelier. You don't want little chains holding it up. So just pull that down just a little bit so that it fits and sits. So if I go on 1 now, hopefully from this point on, I should be able to just add to the next one. So let's see, I need a chain going that way, chain going that way, chain going that way, chain going that way, chain going that way. Just trying to figure this out. We keep going, box select, just hit Shift just to keep those in line, and then we go Shift D, duplicate, and then we can add onto that chain just right there. So I would definitely implore at this point that you go to your save and you definitely save that. You can go ahead and save this as chandelier if you wanted to. We could just call this chandelier. I might make another tutorial just out of building this chandelier, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's your chandelier. We've got no light in it at the moment. So what we can do, we can take this object right here, we go to edit mode, and then we come over to toggle X-ray. We can now see just about the face underneath. Just right there. So we're going to go E for extrude, bring this down, just ever so slightly. And what we can do is just scale it inwards. This is going to be the light source of the chandelier. And then E for extrude and bring this down. So if we go into the wireframe right, let's go to the wireframe right here. So now you can just about see this object is just coming down into the center of this. You can't see it very well. There you go. So now you can see this object is going down to the center. If we go E for extrude, just bring this out. E for extrude, and then we can go E for extrude again and just bring this in. So this can be the light right here. So if we box select this, so we're selecting all of this, we go to plus and then assign for this one, and we're going to call this one the chandelier. I'm just going to call this chandelier light. Ooh, it's getting windy outside. We're like bright sunshine right here in the UK at the moment. Like the temperatures are really hot, but it's we complain about the temperatures and stuff like that, but it's the humidity that gets you. We have very high humidity at the minute. So with this, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Select your principal BSDF, go to emission, and then we want to make this slightly orange. And then obviously click your assign, and when we go back to object mode, take off your X-ray mode. And now, in theory, we should have a chandelier that lights up a little bit. And the best thing about this as well, we're going to be doing some daylighting as well, so there's other lights coming into this. If you want to turn this up, can do. Make it a kind of bright chandelier. You can also extend that pole in the middle a little bit more. So if we go to edit mode, and we can just see it right there. So if we scale this up and then bring this down just slightly, we should be able to get a lot more light within this. Just make sure that that top bit, this is all the emission, and that top bit's just tucked in right there. And that looks a lot nicer for the light. This glass as well, you can also, the IOR as well, you can edit that, so you can just pull that back slightly to let a lot more light come into the bottom. Obviously you won't see this properly unless you've got an object beneath it and you can actually see the shade that's coming through it. Oh, come on. For some reason it's not allowing me to shift. There we go. So now you can see the light emitting from the bottom of it, and you can see all the patterns and stuff like that. So this is our main chandelier. The room surrounding isn't too bad. Like the build of it is not too bad. Whether you want to add furniture in there is totally up to you, because I'm just going to make the hall and show you a nice chandelier and show you how to make a nice netting, almost a netting effect over the dome that the chandelier is actually going to be dangling from. So let's go on to the next bit, shall we? Let's take this at the bottom. I'm just going to get rid of that. Now this chandelier, select it in whole. Make sure that you've got everything selected so that you've not got any rogue pieces. We're just going to press G, bring it to the side. We'll bring this back a little later on, and we'll size it up to where it needs to be. So in the centre right here, we're going to add a circle. Just scale it out so that it's big enough that you can see. I think I made the chandelier just a little bit too big because I just wanted you guys to see what was going on with it. So this right here is going to be the centre of our hallway, if you want, or a meeting room, or whatever you want to call it. So we're just going to go to edit mode, just press F for fill. Let's go on the outside. So for this particular one, we're going to go E for extrude, and we're going to have like a little fountain going on in the middle, just like a little greeting area. I'm going to go E for extrude again, just scale it inwards. E for extrude, scale it inwards. So this will be the little kind of, I wouldn't say fountain, but just little area. E for extrude, we scale this inwards. E for extrude, scale outwards. E for extrude, scale outwards. E for extrude, scale outwards. Don't go past this little ridge right here. E for extrude. I'm just going to take off this x-ray. This is really distracting. This is going to be like a small little table fountain thing. I don't know what you call it. E for extrude, right in the middle right there. Scale it inwards. E for extrude. And then we'll go just about there. So we can put like a little bit of glass. We can put a little plant in the middle there just to make it look real fancy. We'll just shade smooth, just for now. I, to be honest with you, think that it needs a little bit more vertices, because that just looks a little bad in my eyes. It looks okay for what it is, just for now. Okay, so we're going to go with another circle. Scale it outwards. Wherever this circle's gone. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be the outer part. So we're going to go to edit mode, press F for fill. Notice that it goes around the outside there. I'm just going to take off that x-ray just for a moment. We're going to go E for extrude, bring it up. Now this is the point where we're going to have to get rid of this face on top, because otherwise it's not going to work. You want to go E for extrude, just use your imagination a moment. So we'll get rid of this face right here. So let's go with faces. Yep. Select everything on the outside. So Control Shift or Shift Control. make sure that you clip the outside rim from this option right here. We're going to go E for extrude, scale it outwards, and this will be the center of our little meeting area. And then we're going to put the chandelier that's here right above this, and then we'll have a dome over the top of it. So, it's a pretty tall room, so I would suggest pulling this all the way back, because it's a circular room. We kind of want circles with that one. We're going to go and shade that smooth. And it looks a little bit odd at the moment, trust the process. We're going to go ahead and take this chandelier, and I'm just going to place it where I need it to be. So just grab with box select right there. We're going to go with G, bring it over. If you want to press 7 to heaven to make sure that this is mostly central, you can do. So we're going to go ahead and just press G again, and we're going to bring this up just to about here. Now just leave it there for the moment, and if you wanted to just press your render, this is what it's going to look like. So maybe you can improve the light on this if you wanted to, because obviously it's a chandelier, it's a centerpiece, it's supposed to give a little bit more light, but then we'll also add little lights around the area as well, because this at the moment is technically in the dark. If we go to the world settings, that's what it would look like at night. So from your material settings, if you were really tempted to do so, so we've got chandelier light right here. For some reason it's just super bright on this. When I click this, we can just do that. I think maybe just tone this down just a little bit. I think the program's having a little hissy fit. It's not quite the way that I want it to be. So this right here, let's go on to shading mode. Let's see what happens when we go on to shading mode. Just regular general shading mode. Let's go on to edit mode. For this piece right here in the middle, we're going to want a nice little blue kind of colour, like nice little blue offset. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the material to this, so we can do the, I don't know why there's chandelier light on there. Oh, I get what I know what I've done. I know what I've done. Okay, so if I just go back out of this, I guess you guys are probably sat there going, she's done this. she's made this the wrong way. Right, so ignore what I just did about that chandelier light. Thankfully we didn't move on before I figured this out. So what I've actually done is put the chandelier light to this. That's why it went really bright. That's why it had the little bit of a glitch. So if I can just get to this light right in the middle right here. So if we click this at the top, it's just really easy access rather than trying to click through all these. So if we go to chandelier light right here, and then we go back to the object mode, and then we can turn this up as needed. For some reason, I decided to change that to chandelier light. I don't know why. Unless it was just a glitch. I really wondered why that happened, because I was kind of panicking then, going like, why is that happening? So, when you've got your room, and obviously it's dark outside, I changed the environment to dark outside, that's the way that the chandelier is going to look. Now obviously, what you have here is a very, I wouldn't say pixelized version, but it's a very unrefined version. So this gives you a rough look into what it's going to look like, but it won't be the final version. When you render this out, this will look a lot better. There'll be less buzziness and less, I don't know what you call it. We call it kind of buzziness. It's like flies on a TV, if that makes sense. A lot of people are going to like look at me going like, flies on a TV? What are you talking about, Bex? Flies on a TV, like back in the 90s we used to have these tube televisions, and they used to give these kind of like black and white dots all over the place, and we used to call them flies, because the TV didn't have a signal. And I guess you could call this the same thing. That's probably the closest thing that I associate to that with. So that's how your chandelier will look. That's what I was trying to show you, but for some reason I put the chandelier light on the back. Don't ask why, I don't know. So let's go back to the regular mode. And we'll go to, yeah, we were up at shading, right? So let's just change that into the middle. Let's go to edit mode. We're going to take this center piece right here. So now this object doesn't have any materials assigned to it, so we're going to go new. This will be the centerpiece. So this will actually be the base. Yeah, I'll just call it the centerpiece. So this one we want to have a nice little blue to it. So you'll notice that we only selected this part right here. Everything else is changing because this is the first material upon this piece. It will always be that material. So you need to change the rest of the vertices around the outside to change it to a secondary material. It's just how Blender works. So this gives us a really good idea of what we might expect for the center. So if we go for the add point on this and we go to the noise texture right here, we go to color to base color, we now have this beautiful kind of pattern going on of different colors right in there. So we need this to be blue, and we need to have this as kind of a shiny kind of look to it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the color ramp, stick this in the middle, and then we're going to put a blue within this. Put a teal, nice bluey teal maybe. Yeah, okay, so we now have this nice little pattern going on. We can add a few other things if you wanted to. You could have a Veroni texture, you could do different ones. I think on a couple of tutorials ago we did marble. Marble's a really nice effect, but it can be overpowering for your projects. So I would suggest that if you are going to do marble, maybe try some different techniques out with marble to begin with, and then come back to this. So we've got this nice little blue going on in the middle. I'm just going to go E-fret extrude a moment. I'm just going to scale this in because what I want to do is I want to make a nice little blue, and then I would like to make kind of an orange in the middle. So to make this orange in the middle from this one, we're just going to go duplicate, and this one will be, so we've got center P, and I'm just going to add orange to this. So this one's going to be orange. So all we need to do, for some reason it decided to do that. Let's assign the orange to the middle. See if this works. Oh, it's really bizarre. I've not done something there. Right, so we've got the center orange right there. So we want to assign that one. Let's do one thing. Let's select everything. I'll press plus. Put new. This can be base material. So let's assign all that. Let's take this piece right in the middle. Let's go with assign orange P, and then we want to take all of this, shift control all the way around, and we want to find the blue one. So center P was blue, and then assign it to that one, and then this one on the outside, this is going to be really fiddly. Control shift, select everyone on the outside. We're going to place this one to a new texture, so let's press plus. Then we want to go 0 base, assign. And now we've got the orange, the blue, and the white around the outside. So I'm actually going to put this one to 0 base as well, for this edging that's going around the edge as well. So this can kind of be really confusing if this is done in the wrong way, but once you get used to doing this, it should be fine. So for the edging right here, we've selected everything, we just click assign. So I'm just going to do a little loop cut just here because I would like to have a little bit more edging around the outside just here. So we're going to keep with this white theme just around the edges, just to edge that step a little bit. And then I'm going to take these ones that are around the outside. So if we go to the face tab, shift control, select all of these, and I'm going to make a new material. So you just want to leave this little bit out. So let's go plus and we'll click new, and this new material will be tile. So we're just going to make some tiles, assign it. So now if we go back to the object mode, and we're in tiles right now, we go to brick, and hopefully this works. Go to add, type brick, brick texture color to base color, and now we've got this nice little brick texture going off. We take the offset, we're going to go ahead and just shorten that brick length just there, and maybe shorten the mortar size as well. Okay, so now we've got this. Sorry for the motorbike. We'll go ahead and just scale this down so it's nice and tiled. Maybe, I'm just thinking for the roughness actually on this. See what this does. No, okay. So, we're going to go with a grey for the mortar on the inside, and we'll go with a nice little hue for the outside, just to give it that little bit of tone. You've also got the offset with this in the bias, so you can turn this up or you can turn this down, whatever you would like. I think we'll put in a little bit of bias, and then we're going to add a bump node just to this for the height. So we've got these nice little tiles that kind of stick out. So now you'll notice that it's all blue, so we're going to go to color ramp, stick this in between, and we can kind of pull this back, we can pull this forward. So on this brick texture as well, I want to add noise just to give it a little bit of texture. So we're going to go color to color 1. And if I just scale this up, you can see that all of this kind of noise appears. Up on the tiles right there. And you can change your mortar to maybe like a lighter colour or a darker colour if you wanted to as well. So we can turn down the roughness, we can turn the roughness up. So now we can see that we've got tiles with a little bit of texture on them. And you could just pull this a little bit, or you could make it a little bit lighter if you wanted to. So, once we finish with this, rendering wise, should look something like this. Obviously it takes a while. So I mean, yeah, you could sit there with that for a while. Like, to be honest with you, I know what it looks like. Yeah, I don't need to sit there. So, we're going to do the dome that goes over the top first, I think, and then we'll make the pillars that surround the dome. So, for the dome, what we want to do is go to add. I want to go circle. Press G, bring it up. You can also scale this up as well if you wanted to. And we can do like a little bit of a resize. I'm just going to go ahead and just take off these screencasting keys just for a moment, so that we can see what's going on here. So you've got mirror editing, you've got scale, all that kind of stuff. Excellent. So what you want to do is just make, if we go 7 to heaven, just scale this outwards. And you just want to make it just a little bit bigger than the circle above it. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to go edit, press F for fill. Now don't worry about intercepting the chandelier right there, we can fix that. So we're going to go upwards on this side, just slight by slight. We could go scale inwards just a little bit, E for extrude. So we're actually working backwards right now for the lip of the chandelier's hold. Got E for extrude, scale it outwards. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this face right here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this face right here. I'm going to go E for extrude. scale downwards, scale outwards. So this is going to be part of our roof. We go E for extrude, keep it where it is, scale it outwards. So now we have this almost skylight look. So it's kind of like this this donut that's going on, and a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, it's bad typography doing it like this." But to be honest with you, if it works, if it fits, it sits. Why should it be bad? So I'm not saying that it is bad. This is just the way that I do it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just make that just above there. It's almost like a teacup, like a tea bag in a teacup. And then on the top right here, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna add a. We can go with UV sphere. Bring it up, right in the middle, right there. Just scale it outwards. Just make sure that it fits and sits just there. So now we have this huge UV sphere here. We're going to press 1, so we've got a side view. Go to Edit, and take all of these faces right here. Just press Delete, Faces. Do the same with this side, Faces. You can also click the X-ray mode to do this with as well. So now we've got this nice little dome going on. We just press A, Subdivide, Subdivide. So now at this point, we want to go to, I think it's Edge and Unsubdivide. Oh, sorry, not Edge and Unsubdivide. 1 second. I'm just looking at my notes right here. Let's see. We can. I think I'm just gonna have to build this as just a regular net. So we could do it like this if you wanted to. It's kind of funky pattern right here. Just mess around with the vertices, kind of make it a little unique. What I would suggest before doing this is go to object mode, Shift D this, and duplicate it, because this is going to be the glass, this is going to be the inside. So what we can do, edit mode. Let's take a few of these subdivisions off, edge it again, and then I think the way that we done it was edge ring. Was it edge ring that we did? I pressed something and it looked really good. Bridge screw loops. Let's see. I don't know what I did for that one. That was really weird. That actually looked really cool as well. I think I'm just gonna go down the listings right now and see what's going on. The only thing that I can do is just go back into what I've just done, like stop the recording and see what I've done. I think it was edge, cut and slide. No. Okay. Subdivide screw. I think we're on screw. Maybe we're on screw. Oh, I don't know. This is. Oh, come on. It's being weird with me. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording, see where I was at, and then I'll come back to you. Right, cool, I got it. Because I clicked something random that I didn't have in my notes, and it kind of did a really cool pattern, and I just want to make it for you guys. So it's rotate edge CW. Right there. So, let's see what we got here. Right, so we've got rotate edge CW, and we want to go, and we want to make this into kind of a mesh kind of look. So if we just type in mesh on the side, we can do mesh deform. This is modifiers, so usually it's mesh. Let's see what we can do. Let's make this look cool. Wireframe. Actually, wireframe might be better. I think that's what I'm thinking of. So here's the wireframe of it. It's kind of a little bit glitchy, but we could go to edit mode and we could kind of HCW, let's see. Let's backtrack a little bit. I'm just kind of experimenting at this point. So let's go with edge, SCW. Counterclockwise. I think we've got too many vertices up at this point. I think that's our problem. If we go to modifier and go wireframe, we've still got all this sticking out right here, but if we could kind of adjust it. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So, once we've adjusted it, got relative as well. Boundary, that was exactly what I was looking for, so we didn't have all those spikes sticking out at the top. What are we on? Let's unselect that one. So we've got this nice little pattern going across the windows. This will be our window. Shade smooth. So press G to bring it down over the top. We can just have it just there so that it's not intersecting anything, but you can see what's going on. So we can actually take the edges of this window right here and we can just bring them down. So if we go to edit mode, try and select all of the edges that are just running around the outside of this building. So we've got them right there. If we just press E for extrude, just bring those straight down. Make sure they don't clip through the ceiling like that, and obviously you need to select everything. So, shift control, and then E for extrude, bring them down, just about there. And I realise the screencasting keys aren't on, sorry guys. So you just want to click shift, and then control, and then you can select everything around the outside. So now, we have this wonderful little thing going on, and we've got this chandelier right here going on that doesn't quite reach the ceiling, so we're going to have to amend that. We could also take this dome and the underpiece and we can just scale these down just ever so slightly. So now we have this dome that we can be seen from the floor. So with this chandelier that we have right here, we can actually take the chains. So if we go to side view of 1, let's go with, oh good, it doesn't intersect that bit I don't think. Oh yes it does. Right, so let's box select this back off. This is why I like to do the chandelier last. Let's get that off there. Get that one off, just double click them. This one might be a little bit harder to get off. Just try and double click it up at the edge right here, there we go. Alright, so take this, bring it down. So we've got an open loop there and a closed loop underneath. So what we want to do is do the, we'll go from here. Or was it open loop, closed loop from underneath? So you need a closed loop to begin with. So let's start with closed loop, bring this up, adjust to about there. Shift D. Bring it up to where you need it to be. And then I'm going to do one more just to make sure that that's in the right place. Now obviously you've got a closed loop above a closed loop right here. You could go ahead and just fit one of these, or take one of these off if you wanted to. Let's just unselect that one. Oh, actually, you know what, that would work. Shift D. Place that just there, and hopefully that works for a long enough chain for this, and we can cut off the excess in the end. So just double click those off. Yep, there we go. Okay, so when we get this into the room, now we've got the chandelier selected, most of it at least. Hopefully all of it. Yeah. Okay, just make sure everything's selected. And then we're just going to press G and just bring it up to where we need it to be. So it's a nice long chandelier and it's in the ceiling just right there. Now you can take all these vertices right here and just kind of change the colours if you wanted to. But to be honest with you, this one's a net. So what I'm going to do is just going to put a cylinder. Press G, bring it up. You want to scale this down just slightly. So now you can see that it's almost on the chain right there. Just scale it upwards. this will be the stopper for the chain that's hung from the ceiling. So now we can do something like this kind of design, and then change this to the black plastic so that we're keeping in with the same design. Just shade it smooth. So now, in theory, we've got no other lights in the scene at the moment, so bearing in mind there's going to be no sunlight coming through this. But hopefully we get a nice little pattern when we render it. That's my goal, really. I'm kind of just looking at this going like, do we have the pattern? Is it there? Is it more defined? Do we need to define it more? I'm pretty sure when we have the glass, we should be able to see the pattern a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is just take the glass on the outside right here, and we're just going to go with glass. And we've got this kind of nice little look going on. If you wanted to smooth that out, you can do. So, in theory, when we render this, we should be seeing patterns, but I think the reason why we're not seeing patterns is because at the moment we don't have a light source coming in. So, I will amend this if it doesn't work, but just bearing in mind we're trying to make it work. Well, I'm trying to make it work. Let's go with light, let's go with sun. Just going to press G and bring it over. Now, suns originally in Blender, you had to put them in certain places so that you could see them. For the future versions, you don't really have to do that. It's quite unique. So, let's go with the sun blazing down on this side. Put the light on. So now we can see the glass is working a little bit. And we can see that beautiful pattern, look at that. So with the sun, you're going to want to put this as kind of an orange, just slightly. Increase your strength. And we've got that beautiful, I don't know what you call it, it's where the light bounces off other objects. So we've got this nice stained glass roof with this pattern going around it. To be honest with you, you could probably make this a little bit bigger if you wanted to. So you could go with the modifier that you've got. Thickness, 2mm. You can make this a little bit thicker if you wanted to. Just mess around with the settings. Give it a little bit of an offset as well. So, for the sky outside, if you're wanting clouds and stuff like that, we could go ahead and go into your world settings at the side. We'll also go to the shader tab as well. So, if you come to objects, go to world settings, just right here. We'll change this to blue. Like a very nice light blue sunny day. We'll go to add and we'll go to noise texture. Just right here, colour to colour. You want to go ahead and add a colour ramp. And you want to put that blue back in there. So when you render this, what you should get, if your white is strong enough, is some nice wispy clouds. Just scale this up a little bit, or a little less, depending on what you'd like. So now that you can see the chandelier right here, we've got the roof, we've got everything like that. So, at this point we want to put pillars in, and we want to make this look very grand. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to place this here. Almost like you stood and you're looking up at it. And then we're going to go ahead and align camera to view. Now obviously I got rid of my camera before. So we're going to go ahead, put a camera in, view, align camera to view. Just press G, you can bring this back a little bit. So you get the whole space of what you're doing, just offset it just slightly. Okay, so you're pressing G and then the middle button on your controller, so not your controller, your mouse. So, in the background here as well, I'd like some hills before we make anything else. So I'm just going to go ahead, put a plane in there. We can go to the modifiers, we can go to ocean. Ocean's really great for making hills. It's going to bring you back, excuse me, bring you back to the main part so you can see what's going on. So our camera, wherever it's gone, where's our camera at? So let's put this view to align view, view to camera. Oh, sorry, not that one. Yeah, I think that's where I wanted it. I just need to know where my camera is exactly on this plane. Oh, there it is. It's that diddle little thing right over there in the corner. So I'm just going to stop this from rendering just for one moment. So the camera's pretty small over in the corner right here. So we want to take the mountains and just pull these up. I can't even see what I'm doing here. I think I made this way too big. But then again, I guess it's a good thing because then you can see for bigger things, really. I'm just going to go ahead and actually select everything and just kind of take it down a notch. Just so we can see what's going on, because I think the computer's having some trouble making the backgrounds right there. You don't have to do that if your computer's behaving itself, but mine is kind of running out of space, so let's just put this here. Let's rotate this in just ever so slightly, and maybe just reduce it just ever so slightly as well. So we've got some nice mountains going on. Now, you'll notice that you can't see the background here, so if we go to the camera settings and just extend that. So now we can see these beautiful hills that we're trying to put in. Just going to go ahead and amend this just ever so slightly. Just maybe tip it down. Scale some parts up. So you've got that kind of nice hill look, but it's not been cut off on one side. So we just take the x-ray off just for 1 second and take the x-ray off for this one. We can now see that we've kind of got these little hills going on, but they're not quite perfect. So you're going to have to adjust this to where you need it to be. Scale it out, scale it down. Just so that you've got something to work with. Bring that over just a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and amend the camera a little bit because I think that it's not seeing the entire picture there. Just pull that up. And then with this, just extend it just slightly. And just bring it across. So you can see that there's hills in the background, but it's not quite as subtle. So what you can actually do as well with this is you can amend the depth of field. So if we go to depth of field right here, use this dropper, and maybe our depth of field is a chandelier. You can turn this down, and what we can do with this is, as you can see, things start to blur out in the foreground and the background. So now we have these little hills and this little kind of meeting area in the middle. So now we just have to add all of the pillars and all of the fancy stuff to this, which is pretty easy to do. So this floor right here as well, I don't know what I've got for it, but I think it's too light. I think we were doing the edgings. Did we do the edgings? Did we finish that bit off? So with this object in particular, there's 3 of them. So there's the orange, there's the base. Let's see. Go into the edit mode. Ah, yeah, we've got all this selected right here. So is this the base? No. This is the tiles. So maybe we want to make these tiles a little bit darker. Just go back to object from your world thing. Just slightly darker for this. And maybe make these metallic. And just pull down the roughness as well. So for the centre bit right here, we can also go with a nice blue. So we can actually go with the same material that we just made centre P, which is the same blue. So now we've just got the pillars to make in a couple of plants and stuff, and then obviously we've got this as well. So if we go to new, and then we can go ahead and go to colour ramp to base colour. We can go to noise texture. You want to go colour to FAC, or whatever it's called. I probably just mispronounced that and butchered it. We can go ahead and add some greens, maybe some, since this is almost like a desert theme, we could go with some oranges, just in the back right there. Plus this one. Orange on that side as well. So when we go to view and we go to viewpoint camera, we can now see that we've got all these hills going on. We can lower the scale just ever so slightly of these hills so that we can get some of the colours into this. Maybe we could add some greens as well. You just want a variation, really, of different kind of tones and colours with this. Could add some distortion in there as well. I think this is too big for what it is. Yeah, that looks a little bit better where it's got some more texture on there. But to be honest with you, we're going to be blurring that out in the background, so it should be fine. The way that it is. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. You've kind of got like a lot of texture right there. Maybe that green, not so much. Bring that down just slightly. And maybe that distortion, just put that to 0. So you've got a tiny little bit of distortion just coming in there. And maybe take that green to make it a little bit more yellow. So again, I mean, this is going to be blurred in the background, so it shouldn't matter too much. Just take it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do with this in the background once I've finished it, I'm going to go to the layout. Just take that off render just for one moment. Let's see, so if I take this and I just scale it up a little bit, so we got some more of those lovely hills in the back, and then I'm just going to pull it back just ever so slightly. Oh. Okay. Yeah, the hills are probably going to be the hardest bit to make because they're just kind of crazy hills. So, yeah, leave them where they are. They should be fine. So now this is going to kind of get a little bit harder because obviously we've got different perspectives coming in here, and we've got different kind of characteristics coming in here as well. Okay, welcome back to this tutorial. So I've just gone and got a drink and a few things. It's really humid in here. So what I've done with this piece, just to amend a few things, is I've edited the background just a little bit, added a little bit more of a distortion onto the back. I've shrunk it down just a little bit more and then expanded it a little bit in the background so that we've got these nice little hills going on. I've also added this texture to the top here, which is Central P Orange. I just thought that'd give it a lot more texture in the long run. I'm actually gonna, duplicate this a little bit, and we're gonna add a bump node. I'm gonna move this a little bit because this microphone, like, it picks me up, but it's literally sat right next to me, and I seem really quiet when the audio comes out because for some reason it just does that. So I'm going to try and get a mic that can sit like right here, you know what I mean, so that I can talk to you guys about what's going on. So I'm not having to shout so much. So let's go with noise texture to height as well. So we're just giving this a little bit of a bevel, making this just a little bit different from the original orange that we had, but it's the same kind of theme. So I'm just going to make this slightly metallic as well so that it just picks up some of the stuff from the bottom. Maybe just improve the roughness just slightly. So we now have this kind of nice little kind of lounge area, kind of desert theme going on in the background. I'm going to put another one of these in the background, but I'm going to make it a lighter colour and give it some more finesse. So if we just go to layout real quick, so you can't really see what's going on, which is kind of a bit of a pain. I don't know why it's doing this, but it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and just Shift D, duplicate this. I'm just going to move it back to the background and just make it a little bit bigger. And then bring it over, hopefully, just to here. And then I'm just going to move it back across the scene. It's kind of a weird kind of angle, this one. So yeah, I'm just going to improve the camera and what that can see if that makes any difference. Let's go ahead and move that back. Yeah, I think like a lot more hills are appearing now. If I put this just about that much, we can now see there's a bit of a difference in the back coming from the front and from the back. So there's a lot of different hills going on as far as the background is concerned. So what I want to do now is make the pillars within this piece, and hopefully we can do that before it starts running out of memory, because that would be absolutely brilliant. So the pillars themselves are actually, I'm going to go with a plane to begin with, just to show you guys what's going on. Let's take this plane, move this outwards, so we've got plenty of room to work with it, because we're going to need it. Scale this upwards. I'm going to rotate this by 90. Just pull this out just at the side right there. Let's go to edit mode. So let's go middle, 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 middle. Let's take this right at the top right here. Middle, middle. I don't think we're going to do middle on that one, maybe. We'll do middle on that one, screw it. We'll do middle on that one. Okay, so we're going to want to make these into little archways. So just go ahead, select all these ones. And as you get to this point, you want to go inwards kind of thing. So you're going to do one inwards right here, one inwards right here. Just trust the process really with it. We're going to press delete with these. Get rid of the faces. So now we want the points in the middle. So we're going to take these 2 points right here. Press G. You can bring these down. You know, press S. Just move these in slightly. These 2, press S, move them out slightly. Bring them up with G. Scale these outwards. You could bring these just down, just ever so slightly. You might have to fiddle around with this just a little bit, just to get to where you need to be. Take these 2, press G, bring them down. I'm just going to go ahead and just move these 4 out of the way. Scale these at the side. Let's see, I'm just going to select the entire thing and just going to pull it in. So now we've kind of got these nice little archways going on. They're not exactly smooth, but they're better than they would have been. Just leaving them the way that they were. Jeez, man. So yeah, I think those will do. Yeah. Okay, so shade smooth, and then we're gonna go select everything. E for extrude, just bring them outwards. What we could actually do around the edges right here, I guess, we could put some extra archways. So if we go to the edit mode within this, and just select these inner faces as much as we can without selecting the outside ones. So just press shift, just click them. There we go, E for extrude. Just scale them in ever so slightly. So these ones now can become these little kind of inner archways that we can put gold on, or we can put paint on them or something like that. So this one right here. And then we'll go ahead and just click these, just select them all. And we can add that nice little gold colouring to them. So you want to use the exact same gold that you used for the chandelier. Just basically keeps it in theme with the material ranges that we have here. So if we go to this right here, if we press plus, we want to have this new one as a pillar. So there's a shade for the pillar, and then we want to go plus again, and then we'll go with gold, and then we'll click assign just for this. So now, when we go into this, we should have nice little gold archways. Now, these aren't exactly foolproof. You can change them at any point. And to be honest with you, I'm going to use them for the project, and they might not be your style, depending on what you want for your style. But this is what I'm going to have for mine. So, if we go into the shading tab right here, and we've still got this, we can go on pillar, especially if we're actually facing the correct piece right here, if it ever lets me go across. So, we've got this one right here. So, we can actually add a brick texture to this. Just similar to the floor one. The bricks are going this way, so we can mess around with the row height, we can mess around with the brick height as well. We just mess around with the offset. Let's put this straight. Then we can add a bump node to give it some little bit of finesse. Add a colour ramp. just right in the middle right here. We can go ahead and add a nice kind of offset white just for the background right there. So when we go back to the layout mode, we can then take these and put them into where they need to be. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and make the actual pillars themselves because we need those. So I'm just going to go ahead, bring this one out, scale it up. I think we made this project a little bit too big, or at least I did. So let's go scale this up. And what you want to do with these pillars and these supports right here is you want to do a few tests with them to see how they sit and then amend them as needed. So with this one, we're going to go edit mode, take the top, take the bottom, and I'll just press 1, see if we can do it like that. We're going to go E-fret extrude, leave it where it is, scale downwards, scale outwards, then scale downwards again, but inwards. You're going to go E-fret extrude, scale, I'm going to scale downwards. It's got these nice little pillars going on. E-fret extrude again, scale inwards just slightly, scale upwards. We're just going to go scale inwards just slightly, oops, about there, scale upwards just about here, then E-fret extrude, scale upwards, and then E-fret extrude again, and you just want to scale this upwards, oops, scale upwards, and just scale naturally and then scale it back down. If this is ever going to work, come on. Scale in and then scale upwards again. So you're kind of just making patterns really. And then E-fret extrude and then scale again. So now we've got these nice little round pillars that are going to be used for this piece. So what we can actually do with these pillars, if we go to the shading tab. Oh, where's it gone? Kind of looks a bit of a mess at the minute. It looks like a Dali painting. So take this, edit mode. You've got to select this entire ring around here. So if you press 1, then you go into the X-ray mode. We can just box select all of this, all of these faces, just right here. Make sure that you've got all 3 lines just right there. We're going to go to new. This will be pillar base. Go new right here. And we're going to go to gold. Click assign. This one should change to gold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select and do the same thing to the opposite side. So take these 3 rows right here. We'll go assign with gold so that when we change this over, we now have gold trimmings on either side. So the best thing about this as well, we can actually do a marble effect upon this. So if we go pillar base, and I believe that what we had, let me see here, I did this yesterday, I think it was wave texture that we put in, so colour base, colour wave texture, and then we were adding, let me see, I think, I think it was like a noise texture or something. Let's see what happens if we just, so we got that one that moves, detail rotation, distortion, there we go, there it is. So this is this can be used for marble. So now what we want is we want a colour ramp. Let's place this right here. Let's move the white across if you want to. Make this a little bit bigger. You can also change this colour to, say, a blue or something like that. Like a turquoise kind of look to it. I could have it as green marble or something like that. but this will give you the marble effect. So on your roughness, we could also go, let's go with noise texture, just here, colour to roughness. Just turn up that roughness just a little bit. Turn up your metallic a little bit so that you've kind of got this nice little thing going on. And then you've got this porous kind of marble that's on the outside as well. So that would look really nice too. You can always change the settings on this at any point. So, given that we have this and we have this, what we're going to need to do is take this, press G, and we want to place this at the bottom of this, and we want this in there. So what I'm going to start off with, I think that might be the best option, because this needs to be just squished down just ever so slightly for the supports at the top. Take this, put this and put this together. Don't put one on the other side just at the moment, but just make sure that they fit relatively well. Just maybe move this over a little bit. So you've got a pillar and a thing right here. I'm just going to shift D this across just to see what it looks like. And then we can select all three of these. We can bring this over, oops. We can go ahead and bring this over to the original design. So you'll notice as well when we put this in the original design that it doesn't quite fit. Right, so all you need to do is just scale that down a little bit. You can scale these across. This is why I didn't want to really put in the pillars to begin with, because I just thought, well, you know, I'm going to be moving a lot of things around. So let's get rid of this one just for the moment. I'm just going to go ahead and just scale that one just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is go to object mode at the top, if I can ever see through this. This is fun. Right, I'm going to go E for extrude and just bring this up just a little bit. So now we've got this pillar that's very flush. So take this and this. Just go ahead and place one there. Maybe I'll bring that other pillar back actually. Kind of makes more sense. So all three of these. Let's make sure that they're there. Just place this one here. This one here. They can go like practically anywhere that you would like them to. But for me, I'm just going to place them where I think maybe they should go as regards to the scene. So, and then we can amend these later on. See where we can put them. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into layout mode again, because I think it needs that. And what we can do, let's see, I want these to cross hatch as well, so it's kind of a trust the process moment. So we've got these on this side. Take these on this side. That's generally how stuff works. We can have the chandelier just through the middle right there, so that we can still see the chandelier and we can still see the mountains. But now we have this nice little kind of curve, and then we can go Shift D, rotate by 90. What you want to do is just get them. So if we put these at the end right here, we want to put the pillars relatively close to one another. So you can go right at the end here, so that they kind of interact at that point. So in theory, if you've got that, then there should be four kind of stood next to one another, but in this case there's not. So we can go Shift D again, move these across. I mean, this is your world kind of thing. You can do whatever you want with this. I'm going to go ahead and put something here actually, because I think that it's just too much around the edge. I think we need an edge right here somewhere. So to do that, we could do a cube. Bring this across, scale this out, bring it down, and we could kind of make an edge to this kind of balcony kind of thing that's going on. It doesn't matter if the pillars kind of go into the floor a little bit, because it just makes sense in the end to kind of do something like this. Maybe the pillars are a little bit buried. Maybe this was added afterwards. So take that. Then grab this side and E-fret extrude and bring it down here. Press G, bring it across. Take this face, and then we can go just there. So that could be the edge of the building. We could go G. Bring this across to that side, edge of the building, and then on this side we could do some little detailing if you wanted to, some little walls. So you could actually take, let's see, one of these pillars right here, Shift D, bring it across down here, scale it down so that we all match the same theme, or at least the scenery matches the same theme. So you got to imagine how tall someone is. You place this here, G. There you go, G all the way across onto that side. You know, if you're just making an image out of this, in theory, all you need to do is just be within the camera's kind of look. The camera, what the camera can see really. But if you want to make a full scenery, then you can do so. So I'm just gonna press G. Just bring this one across, and then I'm gonna press Shift D, -10. We can do this one again. Shift D, -20. This one again. Shift D, -40. Go again. So yeah, you got to select them all. So now it should be -80. So Shift D, oops, -80. Let's go, and then it'll be -160, I think. So let's go on that one, and then we're gonna go minus, and then 160. Would that be correct? Oh, sorry, we didn't put the minus in, did we? So, if we... Oh, sugar. Right. So, Shift D, and then -160. There we go. So, then we can take all of these if you wanted to, just move them across a little bit. Okay, so I'll press G, bring them across. Excuse me. Just to that point just there. And then from here, we could get another cube and just stretch this across. So, let's go for cube right here. G, bring it forward. G, bring it up. Scale across that way. And now we've got a little balcony for people to look out on. And so, when we look in the picture kind of thing, because we've got the depth of field that's going on, and we've got the lowest depth of field here, in theory, We should have some blurring and we should have some stuff going on. I don't like how shiny that floor is, to be honest with you. That gold's not too bad, but I don't like the way that it's done. Maybe a little bit of a rougher gold. I don't like the colour. The colour matching is not very great. Obviously the colours are matched, but when you've got something like this, it looks great, and then when you turn it into kind of a render, it's a different story. So maybe that gold needs to be a lot deeper. So let's go to the gold. You've got the old gold and you've got the new gold. So I'm going to assume, let's see, you've got gold, old gold, new gold. These two are gold. So let's rough this up a little bit. Take down some of this roughness. I think there's too much blue. So this flooring right here, maybe just put the roughness up just slightly. And then this roof, maybe just make this a little bit lighter. I think we're going to start adding some plants and some bushes into this. I think that would make it look a little bit more cleaner. So, it's looking pretty good, but we just need to amend some of these things, such as these pillars right here. We should definitely get another crossover of these. So I'm just going to take these. It's going to go ahead and shift these over. So you want to be able to view the fountain as well, and then you want to be able to view these. So I think maybe place these just here so that they're off camera, but you've still got that little bit of shade that's coming over. I'm going to move this sun just a little bit to see what happens. And then maybe take the colour from the outside and just turn that off just for the moment, just to see how the rest of the lighting's kind of behaving. So this sun right here, maybe we'll want this to be super powerful. If it's ever going to work for me. Let's go 100,000. I think that's 100,000. So super powerful sun, maybe slightly orange. Maybe just tone that down just a little bit more. Say 7,000. 7,000 looks okay. And then if we can just bring the strength back up of the clouds. I'd say that looks relatively okay. Maybe take this material that's in the background right here. Let's go with, I'm just trying to think, like my brain's like puddled. I do quite like it, but I don't like how the light's refracting off it, so maybe we could turn this light down just a little bit. We could go with about 600. I think it's just too much. I think maybe we could rotate the lighting just by slight, just to get it off, so just to basically stop that glare, really, because there's a lot of surfaces that the light's just hitting straight up. And also, that barrier doesn't look correct. Haha, no wonder the barrier doesn't look correct. I've not put the blooming bar on it. I think I've been at a certain angle and I've looked at it and gone, oh yeah, that bar's in the right place, and then realised, like, no, it's not actually. It's not even attached. So, that needs to be there. Glad I noticed that. So attention to detail mostly with this. I'm going to change this to a black, actually. Yeah, I think that works a lot better. Maybe add some strip lightings just across in different places, just to kind of illuminate certain things. Maybe that's something that I could work with. Now you kind of got this blockiness that's going on in the middle as well, which I don't quite like, but I think it just adds a little bit of character to it. We can back that camera up a little bit. I don't like the depth of field on it. I think there should be more depth of field. I think it's too big to make some of the depth of field, but I guess you could take the depth of field in Photoshop or something like that. Something similar. Just have that right there. We've got that nice chandelier going on. So see, there is a depth of field just there, but it's not enough that I need for this piece. So maybe if I can press G and just bring this forward a little bit, maybe that would help. Just bring that in. And then maybe put the depth of field as the chandelier. Perhaps that would look a lot better. And also what I'm going to do is put some more pillars going down this side so that we do have that depth of field coming into play. So I think what we're missing is we've got the camera facing this way, and there's not much of a background to be looked at. So if we just take these, Shift D them over without selecting that one. To be honest with you, that actually looks pretty good. Shift D this, rotate it 90. Press G, bring it over to this. Maybe this is what we're missing. And then we can kind of put that there, get rid of these two. Then get rid of these. I think that looks okay for the end of the project, to be honest with you. Just kind of a nice little build to to be had and to be done, really. Yeah, if you guys like this tutorial, please like, subscribe, follow, do whatever your heart desires. It would really help my channel. So, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.